Welcome back to the 31305 podcast, episode 38, discussing once again the highlights of the NFL and college football season. As always, I'm joined by my co host and founder of the podcast, Taylor. I know you've got a busy day today. You're excited to talk about some Lions football?
Hell no. I do not want to talk about Lions football today. I don't want to talk about that subject at all today. That one is still hurting from the weekend. Um, a lot of injury news with the Lions and injury news in general with the NFL this week. But uh, yeah, it's not. I don't want to say it's not looking good because like if you told me at the beginning of the season we're 1-1 going into week 3, I'm like ecstatic. But
Mhm.
I guess we did it in the backwards way I thought we would. So obviously disappointed, but it was a good week of football nonetheless.
It was. And we'll get to the big action. We will start with an injury, of course, which happened last night on national television. Another running back one is out for the season, and it's unfortunately Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns. I mean, a devastating hit that the broadcast didn't even put back up on TV because it was so bad. Pretty much a shoulder pad straight to the knee, causing the knee to bend the exact opposite way it's supposed to. And he knew right away. He tried to get up and he just stayed on the ground. And it's a shame because Nick Chubb's a really good football player and he already hurt his knee really badly in 2015. So prayers up to him and of course hoping that he can feel better and make a full recovery. But what do you think of the injury and of course the dog crap Monday Night Football games that we had last night?
The injury is terrible. The fact that they didn't even want to show the replay because it was that bad is that's how you know it's bad is when they don't even show it on TV. You could hear the crowd's reaction when they showed the replay on the jumbotron, and it was bad. In 2015, he tore his MCL, PCL, and LCL in the same leg. Um, Early indications is it's somewhat the same injury as before. um, People are saying this could be career ending. I mean, the same injury, and it's bad. 2 times in 8 years, it's already been reconstructed once. Obviously, you hope he comes back and he's able to be a football player again. But I don't think there's any way he can come back and be as effective as he is now. He's already probably one of the most underrated running backs in the league. Nobody like everyone forgets that Nick Chubb is like a top 3 running back, but
Yeah.
obviously terrible to see. The games themselves, actually, he's out for the rest of the year. They've already announced it, so that's how you know it's bad too. Is when they haven't even done imaging or any of that, and they already have ruled him out for the entire season. But the actual games were just dog shit. We'll start with the first one because the Saints game. I don't think the Saints are going to play a fun game all year. They
Yeah.
play. They might be the most boring team in the NFL. Last week, their field goal fest with Tennessee, where I think there was what 8, 9 field goals kicked. And then this week with just a shit show against Carolina. Derek Carr is not it, but I guess they don't really have in the much in the quarterback room anyway. But Derek Carr definitely does not seem like he was the answer to the Saints. Their defense is still great, but um, I think the Saints might be the most boring team in the NFL.
What's crazy is that they are 2-0. Like
Yeah,
even
they win.
though they win shitty games, but they win. I mean, they have some explosive plays like Chris Olave and Michael Thomas, but yeah, the rest of the time it's just inconsistent. Jamal Williams got hurt during the game, so they're relying on their third running back to play. Obviously, Camaro's out one more game for suspension, so you got to see how they handle that. But yeah, not a great football game for sure for the first Monday Night Football showing. And then the second one was the Browns Steelers, and I mean, just everything about it. There was some highlights of like the very long pass from Kenny Pickett to George Pickens. There was a T.J. Watt scoop and score in the fourth quarter, but besides that, this was just an AFC North defensive shit show. Which I mean, it was especially after the Chubb injury. Like I didn't want to watch this game the rest of
Oh
the day.
yeah, after the Chubb injury, I think I turned it off. So
Yeah, I mean, not great Monday Night Football coverage. They are having another double game feature this
I
week.
don't. Why are they doing it again? That's the thing is you can do this again. Like you can do a 2 game with an hour in between the start of each of them if they're good games. But the fact
Yeah,
that and I mean, I guess on paper the Browns versus Pittsburgh should have been a better game than it
better.
was. But I mean, you had the Chubb injury. The game started out with a fucking pick six right away from Deshaun
Yeah.
Watson. So you get the ball back. You're already down 7-0, 10 seconds into the game. So that kind of killed that vibe. Um, I guess the Saints Panthers game kind of killed it too because that was a shit game. I don't know. Like you can
Yeah,
do these doubleheader Monday night games if it's good teams, but
because
you can't just
it kind of takes away the experience of like being the only game prime
yeah
time if there's another game that you're worried about. So
yeah. So I don't know if I don't know why they decided to do it again, but I don't know. And it's not good this week either. It's two more shitty games unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty
I
sure
mean,
they're
Rams
not great.
Cincy could be good. Depends if Joe Burrow plays, which we'll get to. But I mean, of course, we did have the primetime master himself to start off this week, Kirk Cousins, on Thursday Night Football.
Oh my
And,
god.
and I want to say, I know you said Eagles by a lot, and at one point it was 27-7, but this was a 6 point game with 7:40 left to play. Like the Eagles offense just disappeared in the second half. And it was actually a close game. The Eagles ended up winning 34-28, but DeAndre Swift, former Detroit Lion, career game, 169 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, one through the air, one on the ground. What did you make of this game on Thursday? I know you said Eagles by a lot. You were right, but what did you make of the offenses?
I just Philly looked exactly how they looked in the previous week against the Patriots. They got out to a quick early lead, and then they kind of just sat back and didn't seem like they were playing to the best of their abilities. And it happened again this week. They get out, like you said, 27-7. They looked good, and then all of a sudden, Kirk Cousins comes in for 364, 4 touchdowns. Again, I mean, empty yards maybe, but you didn't get the win. But he's at like what? He's got to be at he's close to 800 yards. I think he's leading the league in
He's
passing
at
yards.
709. He's six
Yeah.
behind
So
Tua. He's six behind Tua.
yeah, I mean the guy's a fantasy monster at this point, sitting on my fucking bench. But
Appreciate
um,
you.
yeah, yeah. No problem. If I would have started him this week, I'd have won too. I'm pissed.
I know.
Um, but I don't know. The Eagles are really good. There's no doubt about it. DeAndre Swift with his coming out party in Philly, I guess. I told you. I told you the Vikings were not good. I told you that the average there was no way they were going to keep winning one score games. They are now 0-2 this season in one score games, and they've only played 2 games. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to be this bad the rest of the year. They should be a 500 team, but regression has finally hit the Vikings. A lack of a running back. It's almost like they had an elite Dalvin Cook in the backfield, and Alexander Madison so far has not been it. He's got like 40 yards a game, if that. He has not stepped up like he did in spot starts last year when Dalvin Cook got hurt. But I mean, I guess Dalvin Cook's not doing anything in New York either. But Philly just, I feel like it's fine. I'm not worried about Philly. The Pats are a good defense, so I'll give them credit for that. We saw it this week with Miami, and I mean, maybe they let off the gas with Minnesota, but Minnesota's offense is incredibly good when it's clicking. So I'm not looking too much into it for Philly, but the Vikings are bad.
They just couldn't clutch up. I mean, Philly had 20 more minutes time of possession. Minnesota fumbled the ball four times, and they still nearly won. Like, I mean, Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, and Kirk certainly came to play. Mario Addison came to play, but like, KJ Osborne had a couple of really bad drops. And like you said, Alexander Madison was shit. He has really been bad for them the first 2 games, so you got to wonder if they maybe look at bringing in somebody else, but. Yeah, I mean, this offense, they're 0-2, and they play another 0-2 Chargers team this week in Minnesota. If they go to 0-3, that's a tough hole to climb out of, even for any team. So
Yeah,
we'll
but
see if they can do it.
the thing is that they start 0-3. That division is shit. I mean, the Bears lost. Everyone in the NFC North lost last week. So even if you start 0-3, worst case scenario is one of
You're
those
two
teams
games back, yeah.
is 2-1, and you still have all your games against them. So I would
hmm
say if the Chargers go 0-3, then I'm worried. But if Minnesota goes 0-3, I still think they're bad, but they have a better chance of the division and getting into a maybe playoff spot than any other 0-2 team does.
Yeah. We will stay in the division, of course, with your Detroit Lions. I mean, sellout home crowd. It
We don't
was
have to.
electric,
We don't have to.
but the Seahawks came in and they walked it off. And I got to say, this was a great game. It might have been the game of the 1 o'clock hour because it was high scoring, good, both teams playing well on offense, but Tyler Lockett with the touchdown snag at the end of the
Which
overtime to
was
win the
bullshit.
game.
Aiden Hutchinson got held.
He
Doesn't
was,
matter.
we were correct. He was held. But what did you take away watching as a Lions fan?
As a Lions fan, what I'm taking away from this is Jared Goff is the answer. You're signing this man to an extension. He is incredibly good. Unfortunately, I don't want to say he lost the game, but his pick six definitely did not help the winning efforts. But it did snap the third longest streak of all time passing attempts without an interception. So I mean, it was coming. It was coming at
Yeah,
some point,
just
and
the
it's
worst
just
timing.
it was the worst timing for it to happen. They lost a lot to injuries. Amon-Ra St. Brown went out for a couple of drives with cramping. David Montgomery is probably going to be out with a couple of weeks with a thigh injury, so maybe Jahmyr Gibbs steps up. C.J. Gardner-Johnson with a possible, they fear, is a torn pectoral muscle, so he could be out for the rest of the year. James Houston is out for 8 weeks, their interior lineman who had 8 sacks last year. Let's see, I can keep going because we had so
Yeah, there's a
many
lot of
injuries.
injuries. There were
DK Metcalf went out at some point
rib
in the game.
injury.
Yeah, he was out
Hmm.
for a quarter or so. So that was an absolute slugfest of just. It was a shit slugfest. They were just throwing shit at each other. Geno Smith, he didn't really. I mean, he was fine, but I don't know if you saw towards the end of the game. It was like 3rd and 13, and all he really
And he
had
got
to do,
tackled at the
and
4.
he
Yeah.
all he really had to do was just wait, just draw the play out long enough, get to the 2-minute warning, throw the ball away. But he goes all the way back to their own 4-yard line, takes a sack, and then I get it. We live and die by Dan Campbell's aggressiveness. Fine, it won us last week with Kansas City, I guess 2 weeks ago, and it lost us this week. And in the red zone, 4th and 3, 4th and 4. And instead of kicking the field goal to go up, he goes for it and they don't get it. That field goal would have won you the game. And at the end of the game, he doesn't want to be aggressive. You get the ball back with 1:45 at midfield with 3 timeouts. A touchdown wins the game. The first 2 plays, great. 12-yard passes, first down. You're down at like the 30-yard line, and he just kind of hacks it in, runs the ball, kicks the field goal, goes to overtime. So interesting decisions. They might be in trouble if these injuries are bad. Like this season might derail because they're deep at safety. They've got Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker. We're going to see a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs, though, if David Montgomery's out. So it's interesting. They get the Falcons this week. Should be okay. I feel like they should beat the Falcons. It's at home. But there is cause for concern on a very hyped season.
And there were 3 turnovers from the Lions. That was the difference. Seattle didn't turn the ball over, and the Lions did.
To be fair, the Amon-Ra one was at halftime, so that one didn't really matter. It was just a Hail Mary that he caught and fumbled.
Yeah, yeah. But still, I mean,
yeah, the David Montgomery right out of halftime, first play carries, and they fumble and they lose the ball. So, that's not a
it kept
good
Seattle
start
in
to
it.
your half. Yeah, but
Yeah. We'll see what happens next week. I mean, the Falcons are going to be coming in 2-0, so we'll see. They got some confidence to just beat the Packers.
they're not very
So,
good.
we did have an AFC North clash where the Cincinnati Bengals, like I said, would drop to 0-2. And Joe Burrow, the bigger storyline, honestly, he's re-aggravated his calf strain. He is now questionable for their Monday night matchup against the Rams in a Super Bowl rematch. But for this game, I mean, the Ravens just looked like a better team. Lamar throwing the ball, running the ball with connection with Zay Flowers has been evident, even with Odell Beckham leaving the game. Mark Andrews coming back was a help. And I mean, Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, like they were the better offense than Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. I know T. Higgins had 2 touchdowns, but Joe Cool only had 222 yards and 41 pass attempts. Should we be concerned with Cincinnati and maybe even falling to 0-3 if they lose on Monday night?
Who are they playing Monday night?
The Rams are coming into
The
town.
Rams. I mean, I don't know if I'm extremely worried. Um, they should be fine. They started 0-2 last year, and they were fine. Joe Burrow had a slow start last year. I am definitely concerned about Joe Burrow though. Signing the biggest contract extension ever, throws for 80 yards in week 1, and didn't do shit for the first 2.5, 3 quarters this last weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously calf injury is still lingering. We saw him limping in the game. Maybe that's affecting him. He should be good to go for this week against the Rams, who, I mean, they kind of gave it. They kept.
They had a great game.
Yeah, they stayed in it against the Niners this weekend, which, gotta say, LA Rams, just LA football fans in general, you got to do better. I don't know if you saw that stadium, but I didn't see a lick of blue. It was all red.
Yeah, I mean that happens anytime.
Yeah, but
It's an
man,
LA.
Go Niners, I guess, man. They were crazy fans. But Cincy, yeah, I think they'll be fine. They're 0-2. If they lose this week to the Rams, then I think we're clicking the panic button. But I mean, you're not going to win every game. We know that. 2 losses, starting 0-2. They've been here before and then made the playoffs. So obviously, losing to a division game on the road is never easy. You're not going to just go into Baltimore and win. But I'm not clicking the panic button yet. Joe Burrow's still top 5 quarterback in the league. They've got Jamar Chase. They're fine. They just got to figure it out quick.
They just need to win, honestly. They just need to win. And I mean, the fact that half
Yeah.
the AFC is 1-1 essentially really helps them. So they're only a game back of pretty much everyone else in the division
But
or in the conference.
if you lose this week, you're 0-3, and the Ravens might be 3-0.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But again, I'm not too worried. But if Joe Burrow misses on Monday, they can't get a win. Then you got to see, okay, do we have to like give the ball to Joe Mixon more? Do we have to get Jamar Chase open? Because Jamar Chase really hasn't had a good game in 2 weeks.
No, he has not.
So, and obviously T Higgins had a great game, but he went 0 for 8 on targets.
I
So
said it. He wasn't going to get 12 targets and no catches. He got 12 targets and 8 catches this time. So
that's true. That's true.
it's already looking up for the Bengals.
The other AFC big clash was Colts not playing. It was Chiefs Jags in a defensive showdown. Defensive showdown, honestly, in Duval. I mean, 17-9 final score was not what I was expecting to be the final score of this
Not
game.
at all.
But I mean, just like in the AFC divisional round, the Chiefs looked like they were the better team. I mean, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, big plays in the return to action. And I mean, the Jags, Kansas City turned the ball over 3 times. And Jacksonville only ran, I think, 6 plays in the red zone of the Chiefs. So you have to do better than that. I mean, they settled for a 22-yard field goal in the fourth on 4th down instead of going for it. And then the Chiefs field goal and Jacksonville turned the ball over on downs. So it was a good game, more defensive than I thought. But did you learn anything new about the Jags and Chiefs or no?
I mean, the Chiefs fluky lost week 1. No, they got handled by Detroit. That was not fluke. They deserve to lose.
Mm-hmm.
But they were better than what they showed in week 1, and I think we saw that this week. The defense stepped up. Mahomes, for Mahomes' standard, was a pretty pedestrian day. But when you're throwing to Butterfingers Tony and
Sky Moore.
there you go, Sky Moore, and I mean you got Travis Kelce back, and he scored a touchdown. But I mean, you can't expect him to throw for 500 yards every game. Had an interception, 2 touchdowns. I just think the addition to Chris Jones back in the defense was huge for him, motivationally and on the field. Just finally having their star player. But 17-9 was not what I was expecting out of this game at all. Trevor Lawrence in the offense. I mean, Christian Kirk had a great game with 11 catches, 110. But
Yeah.
Travis Etienne didn't get anything going on the ground. Trevor Lawrence didn't get anything going through the air. I think he had a fumble and a pick, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the Chiefs were going to win this. Jacksonville's not there yet. They're not a top 3 AFC team. They're definitely going to win the division because the rest of their division is absolute dog shit. But they're not ready to take that step to be a Buffalo Bill, to be a Chief. They're not there yet, and I think this game kind of showed it. They're probably still a year or 2 away from that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the Chiefs made a concrete point of shutting down Calvin Ridley after he exploded week 1 against the Colts. And I mean, they have other weapons. They have plenty. Like there were some great throws even in the game by Lawrence. It was just not clutch throws. It was in Jacksonville territories. They just couldn't clutch up when they needed to get the ball in the red zone. But I think this will be a fine game for both teams. The Chiefs will be happy that they won. The Jags will be happy that they kept it close.
Yeah, like run this one back in the playoffs. That's what I want to see. I want to see this in the playoffs. And after they get 18 weeks of football under their belt, run it again.
We did have the battle of the top 4 draft picked quarterbacks in this most recent draft. And even though one of them only played less than a half, Anthony Richardson.
He looked great doing it.
Electric. I mean, 2 rushing touchdowns. Honestly, looked like the entire offense was going to run through him, but he suffered a concussion in the second quarter, did not return, and it didn't matter. I mean, they really put the smackdown against the Houston Texans. It was 31-10 going into the fourth. Houston scored 10 in the fourth to make it an 11-point game, but I mean, this Houston defense, I know they got Will Anderson, they got Derek Stingley, but that is Swiss cheese on the ground. And they haven't even played an elite running back yet. They played Travis Etienne and Zach Moss. And they gave up 5.5 yards per carry.
Etienne's not elite, but he's a top
But I mean, running
Hey
like in
man,
between the tackles, like a
yeah,
Nick Chubb,
yeah,
unfortunately injury, Derrick Henry, who they got to play twice. Like that's
dude.
going to be
Derrick Henry's cooked, dude. That man is. So is
that's what I'm saying.
Najee. Najee's cooked. If you have Najee
Najee's
Harris,
cooked. Najee's
get
cooked.
rid of that man. Holy shit.
But I mean, C.J. Stroud had 337 through the air in garbage
384.
time.
You have 384.
Oh,
Yeah,
384.
he
Sorry, he had
almost threw
384
400
in garbage
yards.
time. But
Oh,
I mean, it didn't really matter because the game
no, it
was
didn't.
21 points. Yeah, it didn't matter at the end. But we predicted this game. I knew that my homie Anthony Richardson would help. No, but the Colts
Yeah,
just won this game.
yeah,
Nothing much to take about. It's the AFC South. The fact that we even discussed it is already a waste of
yeah.
breath.
But no, Anthony Richardson definitely looked really good before injury, concussion. Hopefully, he's able to get back on the field this week. I don't know if we're not going to know probably till later in the week how he's progressed through concussion protocol, but
Yeah.
I think early returns. I would say Anthony Richardson's their best rookie quarterback so far this year. I feel like it's not.
After 2 games,
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like it's not
I would
close.
say Stroud and Richardson have been better than Bryce Young.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Bryce Young has not been good.
Yeah, I would say like Stroud and Richardson. It goes Richardson, Stroud, and then like a little bit of depth until Young. Young hasn't been that great the
Yeah,
first 2 games.
yeah, no, for sure.
We did have, of course, the Miami Dolphins playing on Sunday Night Football national television.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, and the Dolphins came out firing. I mean, it was 10-3 and with about a minute 46 left in the half, and then Tua cooked for a 2 minute drill. That throw to Braxton Berrios along
It
the
was a dot,
sideline,
dude. Dot.
dot between 2 defenders. Tyreek Hill's man came off of hit Tyreek Hill to try and make a play, couldn't. And of course, it ended with a 3 yard out to Tyreek. But they didn't close the door. The Dolphins played a great game and were clearly the better team the entire game. But the last like 8 minutes of the fourth quarter, they just I don't want to say folded, but they did everything they could to let the Patriots get back into it. Tua throws a boneheaded deep shot to Tyreek Hill where Christian Gonzalez mosses him for an INT. I mean, you don't the next following possession, you punt it back to the Patriots after essentially like almost a 3 and out. And the Patriots, it almost ended on the same play. I mean, Mike Gesicki on 4th and 8 was tackled short, lateraled it to Cole Strange,
Oh,
who
that shit
nearly
was wild.
pushed ahead for a first down. And that's first down and 10 at I think the 28-yard line with about 40 seconds to play. So that's a chance for the Patriots to go in and tie this game. Luckily, they did not. What did you take of the Finns' performance and looking forward?
What's their record?
2-0.
That's all that matters. They played.
True.
That's the thing. They went to the Chargers last week in a game that they lost last year, and they won. If that was the last, if that game happened last year, they lose that game too. They don't win.
Yeah,
Then they go
we know.
to Foxborough, where they usually have a hard time, but we'll say Tua is now 5-0 against Mac Jones. Um, but Foxborough is still a tough place to play, especially intra-division. Miami really just has not had luck there since Bill Belichick, I guess, in the last
20 years.
counting, yeah, excluding the last year or so, never really play well at Foxborough.
Mm-hmm.
And they won. They went in there. They showed defensively. They stopped the run. They were able to keep Ramondre Stevenson in check after giving
Yep.
up 500 yards to Austin Eckler the week before. They only gave up 88, I think, to Ramondre, and like what 3 to Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, wolf. But I mean, I'm not. I'm taking a 2-0 start to what I mean. If they shit the bed, they could. I'd say easily be 0-2. If you lose that first game, going into
Yeah.
Foxborough 0-1, like that's not fun at all. So I'm taking the 2-0 win. Tua is an MVP favorite through week 2, which I don't think anyone really thought would have been possible through week 2. Is that wow,
Yeah.
Tua is better than Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jalen Hurts. Um, we all shamed your dad for taking Tua in the fourth round of the fantasy draft. Like, what are you doing? He was cooking. He was onto something.
He was cooking. Also, he was cooking putting Hunter Henry over Travis Kelsey.
He was
Because
cooking with that one too. That was wild.
Hunter Henry, I mean, a great safety outlet for Mac Jones in this game. He's proven that I think he has 18 catches for like 100 something yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's been great for Mac Jones. But Raheem Mostert, honestly, for the
Yeah,
Dolphins, running back 100 yards plus through the ground, 2 touchdowns. He, even with Wilson coming back in 2 weeks potentially, Devon Achane was active. Savon Ahmed went to the bench with a groin injury, and they still only gave it to Mostert. Achane had 2 touches the entire game. So great win for the Dolphins. I will apply your 2-0 logic to the Falcons, Saints, and let's see, who else is 2-0 in the NFC? That is now great because that's all you want. But anyways, I do think that the
But
Dolphins move forward in this performance and they beat the Broncos next week. So
oh
we'll see what
yeah, for
happens.
sure. But if you're a Patriots fan, are you okay with Mac Jones as your starting quarterback still? Are you ready to move on from the Mac Jones experiment?
No, you still because he still makes winning plays. He's not Tom Brady. He's not going to ever be Tom Brady, but
No.
I think he makes enough winning plays to where they just haven't played a complete game yet. Their secondary got cooked in the first half, and then the running game got cooked in the second half on defense. But I mean, offensively, they do need, I think, better O line. Honestly, that's what the Patriots need because again, the receivers are okay. I know it's not one super shout out receiver, but when have they ever had an elite wide receiver besides Randy Moss that one year?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Patriots will be fine. I know they're 0-2. They go into New York, which we'll talk about that in a minute, but I think they'll be okay.
I don't. I think this is the year the Patriots finish. They're gonna finish last in the division. I think Bill Belichick is done after this year.
You think he retires?
I think he retires after this season. If they don't even like get close to a wild card, I don't think he wants Mac Jones as the quarterback. I feel like he's had enough of him. He hasn't won anything. He hasn't done anything. And I mean, he doesn't
Yes.
have great pieces, I guess, like Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parker, and is Juju on that team?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, like they don't have elite players on the outside. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson's fine, but I don't know. I think if you're Bill Belichick, if you win like 5 games this year, you might just hang it up. I don't know if there's
We'll
any
see what
fixing this
happens.
Patriots team if Mac Jones is still the quarterback.
Well, we'll call it now. We'll see because they're playing New York next week against the Jets. Obviously, no Aaron Rodgers for the Jets. The Jets looked crap against Dallas, except for one super long Garrett Wilson touchdown pass or touchdown catch. Who do you think wins it in the two bottom dwellers of the
That
AFC
is
East right now?
that is an ugly game. That's gross. Where's it at?
It in the Meadowlands.
I I'll take the Patriots, I guess. I don't trust
Hmm.
Zach Wilson at all against a good defense, and the Patriots have a good defense. Zach Wilson probably throws 3 interceptions, so I think this is going to be a ridiculously ugly, low-scoring Saints type game where it's like a walk-off
Yeah,
field goal. It's going to be ugly. It's going to
I
be
mean,
bad.
you could
What
have it
time
be
is
like
it?
Sam. It's a 1 o'clock game.
Okay,
It's a one
so at
o'clock
least
game.
it's not like a somewhat prime time game. Get that shit out of here. Don't watch it. It's
No,
going
no,
to be
no, no.
terrible.
I just hope because I'm gonna pick the Jets to win this game. I don't. I imagine the Patriots starting 0-3. That'd be. They haven't
I mean,
started 0-2 since 0-1 apparently. So if they
yeah, it
start
was
0-3,
0-1.
that'd be amazing. So
Yeah,
I hope that Garrett Wilson doesn't see ghosts like Sam Darnold did in his opener.
I think it's a
But
win-win, honestly. If the Jets
yeah,
win,
either I hope they tie.
yeah.
I hope they tie.
If the Jets win, they're 2-1 with no quarterback, and it puts the Patriots at 0-3. And if the Patriots win,
Yeah.
they're both 1-2, and it's really just a 2-horse race for the AFC East. So I feel like this is
I
a
feel
win-win.
yeah. I feel like I want the Patriots to win, like for standing wise, but I think the Jets are gonna win.
I think I'd rather have the Jets win standing-wise because there's no way with Zach Wilson that they're competing for the AFC East. I'd rather just get the Patriots out
Eliminate
of
the
the way,
Patriots out.
get them out of the
Yeah.
way now, so there's no crazy second half comeback that they can pull out of their ass. Just get them out of the way, make it a 3-horse race, and then
Mhm.
I don't think Zach Wilson's taking this team to a playoff spot, let alone AFC East.
Thursday night football, real quick. Giants 49ers. Saquon's out with an ankle
Oh,
sprain. How much did the 49ers win by?
oh my God! The Giants should have lost last week.
They should have against the
They were getting
Cardinals. They had a crazy
shit beat on,
comeback.
but it shouldn't even have came to that. Daniel Jones
Yeah,
is dog shit. The Giants defense got cooked in the first half, and then I
they
don't think they
did.
didn't give up anything in the second half. Or maybe they gave up a touchdown. I don't remember if it was 28-0 at half, but the Giants, after getting blown out 40-0 against the Cowboys, squeak by the worst team in the NFL by 3 points after going down 28-0
And it's in San Francisco.
in San Francisco. They might put up 45 on them. This game might be 45-7.
So
It's
what's the
going.
difference in points? What are you predicting? The point differential?
San Francisco wins by 24.
24. Okay.
24. Let me see what the over under, not the over. Let me go see what the line is because I genuinely think San Francisco is about to body this Giants team because they are not
I'm,
good.
I'm going to say by 14, which is still a lot, but also teams I feel like don't score as much on Thursday night. So that's why I'm just going to put the Niners by 14. But I agree. The Niners
The
without
Niners could win
Saquon,
this. They could win it 24-0. I'm not surprised if
that's
they get
true.
ahead.
That's true.
They absolutely could win this game 24-0, 27-3. They're favored by 10 points. I think they blow past that.
Yeah, that over should be
This is
pounded.
not going to be close.
We have the Saints traveling to Green Bay. The 2-0 Saints traveling to Green Bay. Jordan Love has actually been good. I know he lost against Atlanta, but I don't know if that was entirely his fault. But what do you take of the Saints going on to Lambeau? Who wins?
The Saints are going to play boring, boring football. The Packers are going to play boring, boring football. This is going to be another game that you don't want to watch. Give me the Saints 3-0 start. Close one.
Dang, okay.
I don't trust Jordan Love. I don't trust the Packers. I don't know if Aaron Jones is still going to be out. We'll see if Christian Watson ends up playing, but offensively they are definitely challenged at this point, weapon wise. I don't know. I feel like the Saints are going to have to have a game where they get out of this offensive funk and put up decent points because they have the weapons. Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Taysom Hill, who is the Swiss Army knife of football players. Like eventually they've got to come out and put up multiple touchdown games because yesterday they scored two. Scored two yesterday.
They scored two. Troy Jones Jr. Two rushing.
At some point, they have to become a good offense to be able to win games because, I mean, defense wins games. I get it. They have a good defense. But you're not going to be scoring 17 points a game and winning. Like, you're going to have to put up more. I think this is the week they come out and beat a really, I think, overhyped Green Bay Packers team.
Well, call me a cheesehead because I'm going to drink into the hype of Green Bay. I'm not saying Jordan Love's elite, but I think he's done well for his first two starts after the Aaron Rodgers era. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. They're tough to beat at home. I know the Lions did it last year. But I'm going to take the Packers at home. I think the Packers, Jair Alexander covering Chris Olave is going to be a fun matchup. So it's just going to be Michael Thomas win on the outside or in the slot. Also, Jamal Williams being hurt. They may not play this week. Give me Green Bay. Give me Green Bay.
Okay. I'm not going to watch it. That's going to be another shit game that I hope is not at 1 o'clock.
It is at 1. The only 4 o'clock game, I believe. No, this is also 1 o'clock. The 4 o'clock games are terrible, by the way. It's like Cowboys Cardinals is one of the 4 o'clock games.
Oh, there we go. That's a banger.
The main game that I want to watch is besides the Dolphins Broncos, which I'll be at that game, so I won't be able to watch any of these games anyways. But Chargers Vikings. The loser goes to 0-3. It's in Minnesota. Do the Chargers? Austin Eckler is likely not going to play again for this week. The Vikings we just talked about against the Eagles. They do have the extra bit of rest. Who wins? Who wins this game?
This is going to be a high scoring. I think this might be the most high scoring game of the week. Kirko throwing 400 yards a game at this point. I'm leaning Minnesota. If this game was in LA, I'm taking the Chargers. It's in Minnesota. I'll take Minnesota by like a field goal. If Eckler doesn't play, I mean,
he's likely not going to.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I got breaking news on the phone, but I saw the ESPN alert, but I was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
But Eckler, Josh Kelly didn't do much on the ground last week against the Titans. They lost the game to the Titans too, who have not been very good. After going out and putting up 31 on Miami the week before.
34.
They end up shitting the bed against Tennessee, losing in overtime. I don't have a lot of faith in this Chargers team right now. I don't have faith in Minnesota, but I think Minnesota offensively is set for the rest of the year. They're good. They just got to figure out the defense part. Give me Minnesota in like a 30. I think it's going to be like the Chargers-Dolphins game, like a 34-31 game.
I agree. I think Minnesota is going to win this game. I think even if it was in LA, you'd see more purple than blue and gold, regardless of where the game was. But I'm going to take the Vikings. I think it's going to be slightly less scoring because I think the Chargers defense does sack Kirko a little bit more often with Bosa and Khalil Mack, but I'm still going to take the Vikings. If Tyreek Hill burned the Chargers secondary, Justin Jefferson and Mario Addison are also going to burn the Chargers secondary.
Jordan Addison.
I keep saying Mario.
Yeah, you said
Jordan
Mario
Addison.
earlier, and I was like, maybe you just misspoke. I'll let him say it again at some point.
No,
See
no,
his,
no, no.
his
Jordan
question.
Addison. We do have a Super Bowl rematch for one of the two Monday Night Football games, and that is the Rams
Yeah.
going
Wow.
to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, like we talked about, may not play with a calf strain. Can the Rams go to Cincy and drop the Bengals to 0-3? I'm going to start and say yes. I think the Rams go to Cincy. I called them to lose last week against Baltimore. Kyron Williams, Cam Akers is also not going to play. Like he's ruled inactive, likely going to be traded. But I mean, they looked like a good offense. Peke Nasua with
Puka Nakua.
Puka Nakua. That's what it was. Puka Nakua. Tutu
BYU
Atwell.
legend.
Right.
They've got
They
they
are.
have the all wide receiver names list over there.
They
Puka,
do. They do.
Puka and Tutu. Come on, that's like and
That's already a win in my
Kukoc.
books. But I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I think the Rams offense looked good. They almost beat, we didn't talk about it, but they almost beat the 49ers in LA. It was 30-27, I believe, final score. I think the
30,
Rams,
30 to 23. They kicked the field goal as time expired to cover the spread. This shit was
oh,
wild.
okay. I think the Rams are a much better team. Matthew Stafford seems to be over his elbow issues from last year. So I'm going to take the Rams on the road. I'm going to take the Rams. We're up in Cincy.
Who did the Rams beat week 1? I can't remember.
The Rams played Seattle? Yeah,
That's who it
Seattle. They
was.
went to
Yeah.
Seattle, won 30-13.
And then they played San Francisco close, and it was pretty much a San Francisco home game.
Yeah.
I'm taking Cincy. I'm just gonna. They're not gonna go. They're not starting 0-3. That the talent on that team. If Joe Burrow doesn't play, I might take the Rams. So I guess this
Hmm.
is kind of tentative on who who starts at quarterback. Give me the Bengals if Joe starts. I'll take the Rams if he doesn't. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that, but that's my tentative prediction. I just don't. There's too much talent on this Bengals offense to
Yeah.
go 0-3 to lose to a Rams defense. Name one starter on the Rams defense other than Aaron
Aaron
Donald.
Donald.
Other than Aaron Donald, name one starter on the Rams defense.
I couldn't tell you.
You
I
can't.
couldn't tell you.
You can't. So if you can't score on the nameless Rams defense, like this has to be their wake up call. This has to be the game they go in, they win by 3 touchdowns, and put all concerns to bed about them being a top 3 team in the AFC. They have to, if they go into this game and they win like 17-10, I'm concerned, I think. If they
Yeah.
go into this
Yeah.
game and win 34-7, I think they're fine. They just need to get their groove back. They need to win a game. They need to win it convincingly and put the doubters to bed. I guess I'm a Bengals like lover now because I keep picking
I
them.
guess. Yeah.
I guess I
You
feel
backed them
like
every game.
I have, and they've lost me every game. They're not. There's no way that they do not. They don't start 0-3. I won't believe it until I see it.
And then we have the only battle of undefeated teams is the Monday Night Football, the first game in Tampa. Philadelphia goes to the surprising Bucks, who are 2-0. Mike Evans is second in the NFL in receiving yards. Has been doing very well in connection with Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin. They won last week in Tampa. Does Tampa have a shot to go 3-0 here, or does the Eagles play a complete game? They've kind of played first half games, but do you think that the Eagles just wipe the floor with them?
Oh, I think the Eagles wiped the floor with them. I mean, let's see. The Bucks played Justin Fields and the Bears last week and
Yep.
demolished them. Justin Fields is terrible, by the way.
Hmm.
Absolutely awful. I think they should move on from Justin Fields at this point. But I mean, the Bucks won a Week 1 game at Minnesota, which impressive, I guess. But also, Minnesota was going to regress this year. Baker is not going to go into. Oh my God, who are they? I already forgot who they're playing. Oh,
It's in
Philly.
Tampa.
Was it in Tampa?
It's in Tampa.
I just don't think it matters. Like a team like Philly, who just came off a Super Bowl appearance, they have one of the best defense in the league. They have the best offensive line in the league, two of the best wide receivers in the league, and a top 5 quarterback. With their rushing attack, they're not going into Tampa and losing. This isn't some trap game. It's not a difficult game. This should be an easy 17-point win for Philly. I just like I feel like this 2-0 start from the Bucks is definitely a mirage. I mean, they made the playoffs last year, but that division shit. Just, I don't know. Mike Evans showing out with his contract, maybe that's part of it, but I don't
Yeah.
see this team is not going to win 10, 11 games this year. They're not going to beat the best of the best. They're going to beat teams that are average to below average sometimes. So, give me
That's
Philly in
kind of
a
what's happened.
yeah, I think Philly wins in another lopsided win.
I would like to see Tampa win, but I'm going to be the smart pick and just go for the Eagles. Again, so far they've only beaten the NFC North, with just how the schedule lined up. And those, to be honest, are the worst two teams in the NFC North this season so far. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Philly winning on Monday Night Football. I think that's it from the NFL. We do go to the college level, where again we didn't have that many great games this week, but we'll get you on some of the highlights. College game day, Colorado State. Take us through the rivalry that happened before the game with the coaches' barbs and the actual action itself. If you remember what happened.
Oh yeah, Jay Norvell talking about how his mom raised him to take his hat and sunglasses off when he talks to another person, and Dion is Dion. Obviously, he's gonna play it up. Says he's using this as motivation. They're gonna use everything as motivation this year. Someone's gonna
Yeah.
like forget to give Shadur Sanders fries in his biggie bag, and they're gonna take it personally. They're gonna use everything for motivation, and they should. That's fine. You're doubted. Go for it. The actual game, they they're not good. They had to go to double OT against Colorado State, who, Alex, how many wins did they have last year?
Three. Zero. Three.
I don't know.
Oh, I was just guessing.
I genuinely think it might have been less than it was like one or two. I now want to know.
I'm looking. They had 1 second. Hold up. They had three. I was right.
Okay.
They were 3-9.
This is a team that had 3 wins last year. Didn't bring in anyone. It's not like they're bringing in top classes like Colorado did with Shedeur and Travis Hunter. And they went to double OT at home, college game day, and they should have lost that game. They went on a 98-yard touchdown drive to send the game to overtime, and then
Yep.
Colorado State fucked themselves over in overtime with personal fouls. I think it was 2nd and 8. Maybe it was 3rd and 8, but 2nd and 8, 3rd and 8, a face mask penalty gives them a first down. Then the next play, it was a late hit and ejection by one of the linebackers, so that gave them pretty
Yep.
much a free touchdown. If you don't face mask the guy, you're setting yourself up for success. Colorado is just not good, and it's about to show because their schedule gets really tough. They go to Oregon this week, which I think that's going to be the first wake up call of wow, we are really not that good. They beat a horribly bad TCU team who should not have been ranked. Who they beat? They beat a horribly bad Nebraska team, and it took them 2 quarters to even get going in that one. And they beat a 3-win Colorado State team in double overtime at home on college game day. This team is
Yeah.
over. I'm sorry. I'm happy Dion is building something in Boulder. It's going to be great in a couple of years. They are not that good this year. I'm sorry.
I'm the biggest man. Dion's gonna use this podcast as motivation for his
Yeah, he's going to
players and
somehow
Taylor.
find this shit on YouTube and he's going to play that clip.
Yeah. You are right though. They should have won this game handedly, and it was. I know it's a rivalry game. It's close, but it shouldn't have been this close. Travis Hunter's injury and the dirty hit from the safety from
That was
Colorado
dirty.
State. It was a dirty hit. He should have been ejected. He wasn't. He also should not have been receiving death threats over a hit
No,
that he
he should
made
not
with
have.
1 second left. Which even Dion today was like, "Come on, guys, this is a guy in college. Like, let him be."
Also,
But like you said, yep,
I was gonna say, at the same time, did you see Shadur Sanders' eye poke? He was eye
yeah, I
gouging
did,
defensive
I
lineman.
did,
So,
I
like,
did, I did.
Colorado can't come out and be like, "Oh, dirty hit on Travis Hunter could have really hurt him," while Shadur Sanders has his fucking hand inside someone's face mat gouging at eyes. Like,
Yeah,
come on, you can't blame Colorado State for dirty shit and then look past what your star quarterback just did.
I will say Travis Hunter did actually go on live because I think he streams on Twitch on Sundays, and he
Yes, he
said
does.
like he had no ill will towards the Colorado State defender. Like he was like, "It's a football play. Like it's fine."
Yeah, and also like it really
Um,
wasn't. Was it late? Yeah. Was it
it was
dirty?
late,
It
but
it
I think it's just
wasn't.
who it was for.
It's
It was on.
exactly what it was. If this was
Yeah,
random Rice versus Bowling Green, who gives a shit? No one's gonna care.
yeah.
It's the fact that
Now,
it's
now every
Colorado.
single radio, every single podcast, including ours, is talking about the hit and like
Exactly.
so.
Exactly. It's because Colorado is the media darlings of the year, and we're all going to talk about them no matter what happens. But
Yeah,
the hit really, it was late. Yeah, it should have been flagged, and it's unfortunate that it resulted in an injury. But it was a second after the ball got there. If he catches the ball and hits him, I mean, if he catches that ball, it's a clean hit.
yeah.
The defense, I don't know. the safety or corner, whoever hit him, obviously it was late, should have pulled up. But at the same time, Travis Hunter catches that ball, it's a clean hit.
We did have the game, which you definitely got right. I will admit this was the college game
Yes,
that you did have right
sir.
over
Yes,
me.
sir.
UF going and defending the swamp. I mean, Tennessee, they
Terrible.
played at home both games, and they really looked like they couldn't handle the atmosphere and environment of the swamp. They looked shell shocked, honestly, from like the second quarter on. They didn't look like they could really compete in this game. And
No.
UF owns them 29-16. And I mean, Tennessee dropped from the rankings they should from 11. But
They're
yeah,
still ranked, I think, aren't they?
they are still ranked. They are
They're like
still ranked.
22 or something. They're in front of Florida, which is wild to me. But at the same time, I don't know if Florida should have gotten ranked for that game after getting demolished by Utah
By
without any
Utah,
mercy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird to see them ranked, but I get it. You beat the number 11 team. I said it. The Swamp is a tough place to play, especially at night with a hungry team. Billy Napier needs a signature win
He
kind
got
of
it.
kind of settle the heat that's under his seat right now. Oh, that was a bar. Um, but I said it. Tennessee not good against what Austin P. They looked like shit for the first 3 quarters. They don't have weapons. There's no Hendon Hooker. There's no Jalen Hyatt. This is not a team like last year that was built to air it out and just offensively go down the field,
Yeah.
systematically score. They just weren't very good. And Florida's not a good team either. Graham Mertz finally was able to do a little bit of something. Oh my God, what's their running back? ETN, Travis Etienne's
ETN,
brother,
yeah.
had a great game. What do you think about the fight afterwards with Graham Mertz going
I
to
was
the
about to
podium?
ask
The
you
late
about
hit.
Josh Heupel's tied out. I mean, that's what you expect. The Tennessee coach called a timeout with 4 seconds left to force a fourth down. Like, you think UF's going to punch you the ball? You're down 13. It doesn't matter.
Even
And
if
of
they do,
course, the
okay.
UF guy ran, took a knee. And I mean, it wasn't a late hit. I'm not going to lie to you because as the Tennessee player went forward to push the quarterback down is when he went for the knee. But of course, they threw a flag, commotion. That image is crazy. Them squaring up in
Oh my
pads.
God, it's fucking hilarious.
It was like when Andre Johnson was squaring up against Cortland Finnegan in the NFL.
Yeah.
It was similar to that. But I mean, yeah, UF, great game. I don't know if they can do it on the road, but great
No,
game. They
no.
played well.
It amazes me. Why are you throwing punches with a person that has helmet on? Like what are
Right? You're
you
just gonna hurt
what,
yourself.
what are you doing?
You're just gonna hurt yourself.
But yeah, Josh Heupel's timeout was fucking stupid. I
Yeah.
mean the Tennessee players shouldn't have even tried to tackle. They knew what he was doing. Like why just pack it up, go back to the sideline, go home. Why do you have to tackle the quarterback that's obviously going to give himself up just to end the game? Like you're down 2 scores, it doesn't matter. Um,
Yeah.
so I think it was a Tennessee game a couple of years ago that the Florida player threw the shoe and lost him that game, right?
It was 2 years ago. It was the
Yeah, it was
last
two
game in the
years
swamp
ago.
that they played against each other. It was Marco Wilson who threw the
Yeah,
shoe.
and he threw the shoe. I guess they
Yeah,
still won
yeah,
that
yeah.
game because Tennessee hasn't beaten Florida in the swamp for a while.
No, because you Tennessee won last year against Florida, but not the year before.
I thought they won the game with the shoe throw, but I guess not. That shit was hilarious. But it seems like Tennessee, Florida is going to give us fireworks. I hope next year Florida does the same thing. Go in there, call a timeout, and see how they like it. But Florida's going to win next
Yeah.
year because Tennessee's shit.
We did have Georgia. Honestly, the 12 o'clock hour, we were talking about no big matchups. Two big scares happened in college
Yeah,
football. One upset did happen. Georgia starting slow against South Carolina. I mean, they were booing them at halftime between the hedges and
it was
Athens.
bad.
South Carolina, I mean, they came out firing and then they just leveled off. And then Georgia's defense adjusted in the second half. South Carolina couldn't do anything, and Georgia pulled away and won by 10. It wasn't the most impressive showing, but Georgia in the second half looked like how they looked last year and the year before, like way better. I don't know if they just were just caught looking ahead. I mean, Georgia didn't play anybody this week, but I don't know. I'm glad South Carolina made the game. It wasn't a blowout, but they probably still should have beat them earlier.
Yeah, it was a game that we thought we were going to turn off after like the first quarter, but Georgia just couldn't put them away. Spencer Rattler and Xavier Legette looked good. It's still a bad team. They're not good. But I think this shows that Georgia is vulnerable. I mean, we saw them. They haven't played anyone this year. And their first conference game, 24-14, against a team that probably should have scored 40 on. The spread was 24. They didn't even get close to that. So, I mean, it's not like the competition's going to get much better for Georgia because they play Kentucky, they play Vanderbilt. Missouri. I mean, the Tennessee game maybe it's interesting, but we saw how bad Tennessee was this week. Maybe
Man.
the Florida game, the world's largest cocktail party. Maybe that's a spot where they could slip up, but it doesn't even matter how they look. They're going to win every game. They're going to beat the number one team. They're going to win the SEC easy. We saw how bad Alabama was this week. I don't think there's
Yeah.
really anyone that's going to challenge them for the SEC. So I don't think it matters how much they win by and how good they look, because I don't think they're going to get scared by anyone except for Auburn. Auburn's beating them at home. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, we need to talk about Bama against USF for 3 quarters in a dogfight with the Bulls. I mean, USF went up 3-0, a lightning delay pushed this game back for an hour. There was a weird camera angle because they weren't allowed. For some
Oh
reason, the
God.
camera
Yeah.
men weren't allowed to go to their posts, but the teams were allowed to play on the field. I don't understand that.
Dude, it looked like we were
But
watching the game through a Ring TV, like the Ring
ring
doorbell.
camera, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it was so strange. But USF, I mean, it wasn't kudos to them for at least keeping it close, but Bama looked atrocious.
Bad.
I
I
mean,
told you.
they're going back to Milrow at quarterback, but super bad. Bama's now 13. They're out of the top 10 for the first time, I think, since 2010. But Bama just looked like crap. I mean, that was a
Are
game we were like, is this going to happen?
are you starting to believe my take from last week that Alabama could lose 3 games this year?
Potentially. Potentially. We'll see what happens with the new guy at quarterback. We'll see.
I mean, yeah, Tyler Buckner looked terrible. They started a freshman, not started, but they played a freshman. He looked terrible. Now you're going back to Jalen Milrow. You get Ole Miss this weekend, which is going to be probably one of the best games of the week. But Alabama, you guys
Rough.
fucking suck.
Talk about sucking. We've got Florida State sucking on the road in Boston College in the game of the Red Scarf. Of course, a very emotional and uniting game for Boston College at home. They played every year on the weekend of 9/11. But FSU, Boston College almost came back and won this game. I mean, there was a moment where it was, I think, a three-score game, or maybe it was an 18-point game, and you thought, oh, FSU's got this game by the chokehold. Boston College loses by 2, and that's after missing a field goal and getting an extra point blocked. So Florida State falls in the polls, I believe. They only fell 1, which I
Yeah,
think
they just flipped with Texas.
they should have been. They should be lower than USC and Ohio State at this point. I know they have a better win against
I
LSU,
agree.
but they almost lost an unranked Boston College team that already had a loss. So I told you, Florida State. I mean, they didn't look great.
No, they didn't, which is why I didn't pick them to make the college football playoff. But yeah, I mean, maybe this is their scare that kind of kicks them into gear. I mean, they already have an impressive win over LSU. Maybe it's a trap game because they get Clemson this week, and maybe you just chalk it up to you're looking ahead to Clemson, which is on paper was supposed to be their biggest game of the year, and
Clemson
Clemson is
didn't lose week 1, maybe.
Clemson,
Man.
yeah. So maybe you get caught looking ahead there. I don't know. Winning on the road is always tough, I guess. But Boston College lost to what NIU, and then only won by 3 to Holy Cross. So
Yeah.
definitely concerning that they only won by 2 or 3 this game. But I think they might chalk this one up to a trap game. I mean, Jordan Travis is still fine. Benson, the running back, is still fine. Keon Coleman, still fine. I think they just got caught looking ahead to Clemson.
We did have the one upset of the week with a great moment of Missouri going to Kansas State and beating Kansas State on a 61
Oh,
yard. Oh,
why
no,
did
it was
I?
at home.
I put
It was at home. I
I
know why
put
you put
Washington.
Wazoo. It's
I
not
put
Washington
Washington
State.
State, not Kansas State. Sorry.
I knew it was Kansas State,
Yeah, I
but
was like, what?
on a 61-yard field goal for Missouri to beat Kansas State, they were the only teams that fell out of the rankings. They were the only ranked team that lost this past week.
Oh,
So shout out to
Tennessee.
Missouri. Well, only team to fall out of the rankings,
Yeah,
should I
yeah,
say.
yeah.
But yeah, shout out Missouri. I mean, crazy 61 yards in college, and it was good from 65.
So that kicker, I don't know if you remember this game from last year, the Auburn Missouri game, where they had a 20
I do
yard.
not.
There was a 20-yard field goal to win the game, and he missed the field goal. And then in overtime, the running back fumbles the ball out of bounds, and Auburn wins the game.
Yes, I do remember that game.
That's the same.
Yes, that they
That's the
won in
same kicker.
overtime.
That is the exact
Oh
same
my
kicker.
gosh.
So to go from blowing a 20-yard field goal and losing the game at Auburn to kicking a 61-yard field goal to win at ranked Kansas State, Missouri, congratulations. That was just the kicker, like that's just insane. To go from
Yeah,
missing
Harrison Mevis.
yeah,
That's his
just
name.
going from missing a chip shot to win to hitting a 61-yard bomb. Good for him.
I want you to know his nickname is the thicker kicker.
The thicker kicker. Yeah, that dude's
Thicker
big.
kicker. Yeah. Um, I believe that's it for the college football main games. Again, there weren't many this past week. So, but with this upcoming Saturday,
It's good.
great week
It's
of
good.
college football action. Don't go if you're at a wedding, pull out ESPN on your phone. Like, make
Oh
sure you're
yeah.
watching this game. You've got starting off at 12. We got Florida State going to Clemson. We just talked about it, right? Clemson has bounced back with wins at home against Charleston Southern and FAU. So they've scored 48 points in each game. Do you think Clemson has a shot defending Death Valley, which is always a tough place to play?
No, I think Florida State. They got caught looking ahead. They were game planning for Clemson. Thought the BC game would be fine. I think they've essentially had 2 weeks to prepare for this Clemson team. Clemson's not good. Cade Klubnik, Will Shipley. It's just not like an offense I can get behind. I'm taking Florida State. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think Florida State's able to run with this one. Maybe a touchdown, 10-point win. They're only 2-point favorites, so I think they just got caught looking ahead. I think they're the better team. I thought they were going to beat them. I thought they would beat Clemson before Clemson lost. So I feel like this is setting up to be Florida State's year in the ACC, and this is just another signature win. I mean, even though Clemson's not ranked, the committee's still going to look at it like, hey, this is a ranked, it should be a ranked Clemson team at home that they beat. So, what, do you, what is that
I
emoji?
didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't move. My hand wasn't on my mouse, but that just happened.
Wait a minute. If you give like thumbs up on Zoom, does it? Oh,
I have no idea. I think it's because I
that would be
nodded my head. I have
yeah.
no idea.
If you're not watching, if you're listening to this
Anyways,
on the
we just had a
phone,
trippy experience.
got emojis popping up on the screen now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this Clemson team on paper should still be ranked going into Death Valley and beating a team that will probably be ranked by the end of the season. Is going to look good on paper. I think Florida State wins the game.
I, as a FSU hater, will take Clemson to win this game. I think Death Valley is a tough place to play. I believe that they'll have their guys ready to play. Clay Klubnik has looked better the last 2 weeks. I know against much worse opponents, but they had 2 weeks to get ready for this game as well. As soon as they lost to Duke, I'm sure they said we're on to FSU. This is their chance to get back into the big picture, New Year's Six Bowl, maybe even the ACC champions. Like, they have to win this game if they want to have any shot of having
Yeah.
larger aspirations. So I'll say Clemson plays hungry and they come out and defend their home turf.
I think we might have different picks for every game we're about to pick today.
We might. I was going to say
I
college is going to
genuinely
be
think
very
we might.
different.
Yeah,
We
I
might,
think we
because you
might.
already know where I'm going with this one. Colorado, going to Autzen, going to Oregon. I'm taking the Ducks. I'm taking Oregon.
Okay. Okay.
With Travis Hunter being out, like you said, I think Colorado, if this was at home, is a different story. But
No, it's
I
not.
think
It's not.
I think it is. But I'm going to take Oregon at home, defending. Eugene is a play. I'm going to take the Ducks at home.
Yeah.
Bo Nix, eat your heart out. Go have a Jalpa Heisman moment and beat Colorado.
Heisman favorite, the number 10 team ranked in the country. Are they 10? Or am I? Yeah, they're 10.
Or 10.
Like, college playoff implications in this game. I guess if Colorado somehow wins this game, they'll be ranked top 10. I guarantee it.
They are. They'll take Oregon spot at 10.
They'll take Oregon spot at 10. So if Colorado wins this game, holy shit, we're never going to hear the end of it.
The hype before that
Oh
USC title
God.
is going to be crazy.
But Oregon's going to win this game. I'm sorry. Bo Nix, Heisman hopeful. Only he's not going to win it. Their winner is already in that conference with Caleb Williams. I've said it enough, so I don't have to get into it. I just don't think Colorado's there. They're not ready. They're not good. They're not. They'll be fine. And next year, 2 years, 3 years, however long Dion's there, they'll be fine. He's going to recruit great. This just isn't the year.
We've got UCLA and another pair of ranked teams going out against each other in the Pac-12. UCLA going to Utah. It's a 3:30 start. I think 1:30 Mountain Time, or maybe 12:30.
It's 12:30.
Utah. I'm going to take the Bruins. I'm going to take the Bruins of UCLA. I think they've looked better. I know Utah had that great opening week against Florida. Kind of been on the easiness. They almost lost to Baylor away. I mean, Weber State, they won 31-7, not anything to write home about. I'm going to take UCLA winning this game on the road.
Do we know if Cam Rising is playing?
I can tell you in 1 second.
'Cause that's going to be what my decision is.
UCLA football is preparing for him to make a start, and he was likely going to practice without limitations this week.
If
So
Cam
that's the
Rising
word
is
of mouth.
if Cam Rising plays, Utah wins this game. Um, I'll be honest. I don't know much about this UCLA team at all. I mean, I know they played Coastal pretty close a couple of weeks ago, and Coastal's a pretty solid Group of Five team.
Hmm.
I just, I don't know. At home, I, I just don't. I don't think I know enough about this UCLA team to pick UCLA to beat a known defense in Utah, to beat a known quarterback in Cam Rising. We know
Hmm.
how good Utah's defense can be, and we know how good the offense can be with Cam Rising back there. I just don't know anything about this UCLA team to even make a prediction for them. Like, could they come out and drop 40 on Utah? Sure, I guess, but I don't know. I guess just give me Utah.
The home team has won the last two times in this game. So
That's
even
what it
with Cam
is.
Rising, they lost last year in LA. We've got Bama trying to defend their home turf and figure out whatever the hell happened from last week against USF. They welcome Ole Miss in the town, who again is ranked. There are a bunch of ranked matchups happening this week. Do you think Bama loses? Bama is only two positions ranked higher than Ole Miss. It's a 3:30 game again. Does Ole Miss go in and does Lane Kiffin beat Nick Saban?
I think he does. Quinshon Judkins,
Okay.
Jackson Dart, gonna go into Tuscaloosa, and they're gonna put up 30 to 40 points on Bama. They are going the spread
Wow.
of Bama's 7-point favorites. You're telling me the team that showed up last week to USF is 7-point favorites against Ole Miss, who's beaten Tulane, good team.
On the
Don't
road.
know else. Yeah, on the road nonetheless, and didn't even play all that well. Ole Miss, I feel like this should be closer to like maybe Bama by 2 or 3. I think Ole Miss could absolutely go in there, score a bunch of points, and this could be a really high scoring game. Um, the over under is 57, which is not a ton, especially in college. When you see Colorado Oregon says 71, holy shit, that's insane. But I mean, 57
Yeah.
is still a good amount of points. Um, I don't have faith in Jalen Milroe. Alabama, call me biased, and I absolutely am. I
You
hate
are.
Alabama.
I will call you
Yeah,
biased.
I'm not saying I'm not biased. I hate
Yeah.
Alabama, but I can at least like respect where it's due, and I can accept
Yeah.
that they're a good team. They're not a good team this year. Jalen Milroe is
I
not a
just,
they don't have a quarterback.
yeah.
There's no Derrick Henry, there's no Devontae Smith, no Jalen Waddle. I said this last week. There is no
I
star
know.
player on the team. Like they're an average SEC team.
I just can't see Bama losing twice at home in a
Oh,
season.
I
You
I
know,
didn't
it'll
I
be
didn't
it'll be
think
their
they would lose
second home
once.
loss by week 4. So I'm going to take Bama. Somehow, some way, I think the running game will take over for Alabama. Their defense is probably going to lock in way better than. I mean, they didn't do bad against USF, but they have to lock in again, do better than they did against Texas for sure. I'm going to take Bama. I'm going to take Bama at home. I'm not really going with the home team every time because I picked UCLA, but yeah, I like Bama.
They're not.
We've got
This is
college.
Bama loses
Yep,
3 games
yep.
this year. I'm on it. I already know. I have the script.
College game day is at the matchup of the season. You have to imagine. I mean, even Texas, Bama for
So far,
sure
yeah.
so far. But I would say Notre Dame, Ohio State is second, right next to it. I mean, this is going to be a great
I
game.
think it's
It's
one.
at the
I think
shoe.
this is number one. No, it's
It's
not.
at the
It's at
shoe,
Notre
right?
Dame.
It's,
No,
it's in
it's at
Notre
Notre Dame.
Dame.
Yeah.
Oh, then my pick is definitely justified. I'm picking Notre Dame. I'm picking the Irish. This is the matchup of the University of Miami rivals, honestly, out of conference. But I'm taking the Irish. I mean, they've looked like the better offense. I'm not saying Ohio State's been bad, but Notre Dame's been better. So I'm going to take Notre
They've
Dame.
been they've been consistent. They've played NC State. They played who did they play week 1? Oh, they beat the shit out of Army. That's who it was. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, they've played tough teams. I mean, Army's not good, but you have to prepare for the triple option, which is already they handled that fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take Notre Dame. Sam Hartman has been exactly what this team needed. Audric Estime is a top 10 running back in the country, I think at least this year. Um, I mean, yeah, Ohio State with uh, Marvin Harrison Jr. is they're always dangerous, but Notre Dame at home, touchdown Jesus, game day. It's gonna be like a cold, rainy game. You're telling me that doesn't line up for Notre Dame perfectly, like slugfest defense? Yeah, no, I'm taking Notre Dame. And you can't call me biased on this one because I fucking hate both of them.
I know you do. As a Michigan man.
Yeah.
I want to shout out the other OSU, Oklahoma State, for losing at home
Oh, that
33
was
to
tough.
7 to
Yeah.
South Alabama, by the way. I cannot believe that happened in Stillwater. Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
No.
Last big game of the day goes to Iowa, traveling to Penn State. Cade McNamara returning to Penn State. Of course, he played there before with Michigan. I mean, I don't think there's a way Iowa wins this game. I think this is a Nittany Lion romp.
Oh yeah.
I'm taking Penn State.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that this is a ranked matchup and Penn State is 15-point favorites. Iowa's not going to score
Yeah.
more than 10 to 17 points. I mean, they scored like 100 at last week. I think they scored like 39, something like that against shit. Who they play? I can't think of it.
They played.
Um,
They put up 30 against Illinois. Penn State. Is that what you're talking about?
no, Iowa. Western Michigan. They put up like 39 against Western Michigan, and that's like the most
Yeah.
they've scored ever in their school's history. Um, so I'm going to take Penn State. Drew Aller, good quarterback. I don't believe in the Iowa offense. This could absolutely be a game that's at the over under is 40. So I guess they're predicting this game to be like a 28 to
21.
20. No, because they're 15-point favorites, like 28 to
Oh,
12. It'd be right on.
I guess. Yeah.
27 to 13, something like that. Low scoring defense. Iowa just is not going to be able to hang offensively. They never have been able to, and that's just not their identity.
And that's it. I mean, like that's what I said. I think Penn State's going to win this game easily. So we have a couple of agreements, but we have three matchups where we're disagreeing in college and two in the NFL. So I mean, we after being tied this week, we could have some big. One of us is going to end the week better than the other for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, Saturday's good because it's not like all these games are at the same time slot. Like the Florida State games, I'll say it, let's see, 12 o'clock your time. The 12 o'clock
Yeah, 12
Eastern,
Eastern.
Colorado game, the Utah game, the Alabama game, those are all 12:30. And then the night games, you got Oregon State, Washington State, who we didn't even predict for this one. That's at 4 o'clock. You got the Ohio State Notre Dame at 4:30, Iowa Penn State's at 4:30. And then I think you get a sneaky game, Cal versus Washington at 7:30. So
Hmm.
I think it's going to be a good day. I'm not going to be able to watch the Notre Dame OSU game. I'll be able to watch the first maybe half, but it is your boy's 26th birthday, so
Yes, sir.
gonna have to go out to dinner, but might have to pull it up on the phone at the melting pot.
I will say, Washington, you doubted me. No, you didn't doubt me, but like
I didn't
Washington has
doubt it.
been really
They're
good.
They
They've
beat the
been
shit out of
they
Michigan State.
they went 41 to 7 over Michigan State. I mean, and their
I
next
never said
game
they were
is
bad.
but I'm telling you, Michael Penix, he's third right now in the Heisman odds.
Yeah, no, they
He's doing really
definitely
well.
played better than I thought they would. I thought they'd be the third best team in the Pac-12, which is where they're at. I think you could flip Oregon. I think that's a coin flip, but they've definitely looked good. They've impressed. I just the Pac-12 was just so good. They're bound to slip up somewhere. I don't think the Pac-12 champion goes undefeated.
Really? You think they all beat each other
I
up?
think they all beat each other up. USC will lose to Oregon. Oregon will lose to Washington. Washington will lose to Washington State. It's gonna be a shit show. I don't think the Pac-12 team gets in undefeated. I genuinely I feel like it should be favored that they don't do that. There's just no way.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. I know we wish we could talk about baseball more with the playoff push, but honestly, if you pull up the wild card standings right now, no, it's just an absolute cluster.
There's no point in breaking it down until it ends because it flip flops every day. Like right now, the Diamondbacks are in the second wild card spot, and if you had told me that a fucking week ago, I would have called you crazy.
Yeah, the Cubs have lost five straight. The Marlins are half a game out. The Reds are tied with the Cubs, but have lost a tiebreaker to them.
Yeah,
I mean, the Giants are kind of out of it. They're 2 games back. I mean,
yeah. They have a
they have a
two-game
series
against the Diamondbacks, a
like
two-gamer today and tomorrow. If they lose those two,
they
they're
need them
fucking
both.
done. Yeah,
They need them both. If they get swept, they're done.
yeah, and
But
they
I
have to go
mean,
up against Gallen and Merrill Kelly. Like that's tough.
but the Marlins sweeping the Braves. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, they beat the best team. They what took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers and sweep the Braves, but they'll
Yep, they
lose to like the fucking
outscored.
Nationals. Yeah,
Outscored 36-13 the Braves. They
But they'll
scored
end up
14 on Sunday.
they'll end up losing to the Nationals or some shit team that they play down.
They
That's how
lost
it's
to the
gonna
Mets
go.
yesterday. They
Yeah,
lost to the Mets 3-1.
I can't say anything because the Diamondbacks lost like 3 or 4 to the Mets. That was ugly.
Yeah.
But
So I
yeah,
mean,
there's
we'll
no
update. Yeah, we'll update on the baseball news as we see it.
because
I'm gonna
next
try to
week
go to.
next
Yeah.
week we'll have more of an idea of what's gonna happen because by the time we record next week, there's probably only gonna be 4 or 5 games left. So we'll probably have a clear picture of what the playoffs will look like.
Yeah. Exactly. So until then, we will keep you updated on all the college and NFL news. Baseball, like we said, is coming down to the wire. We'll let you know how the division standings are. We'll revisit our awards when the awards come out, of course, in a
No,
couple of
let's not.
in a month or two,
Let's
along
not.
with our stand. Well, at least we can at least update the standings and what teams we thought were gonna make the playoffs. We
I
can at
don't
least
think
revisit
my
that.
awards won't be terrible, but my predictions standings wise, I might not be here for that episode.
Yeah, it'll be a solid one. But we will update you on that next week and more on episode 39 of the 31305 podcast. Check us on Spotify and YouTube. Until then, I'm Alex.
I'm Taylor.
We'll see you then.